Hi guys, and welcome to the very first 2,000 point battle report against the Orks. I've got Ainur and Anastasia. We're playing No Man's Land directly from the new 9th edition Warhammer 40k rulebook. Okay, let's begin and look at the lists. Okay, so here we have 2,000 points of Harlequins. I'm running a double patrol today with a Shadow Seer with an extra pivotal roll for the Veil of Illusion, a Troop Master also with an extra pivotal roll for Darkness Bites and Twilight Fang. I've got a Death Jester with Humbling Cruelty, 3 units of 5 troops, each with a different weapon, 4 Kiss in one, 4 Caress in another, and 4 Embraces in the last one. Each of those has 1 fusion pistol each, and they're all riding in Starweaver transports. In the rest of that patrol, we have 2 units of 10 Skyweavers, 1 Starburst in each one, otherwise all with Zephyrclaves and Haywire Cannons. And in my second patrol, I have my Warlord Death Jester. He's got the Jest Inescapable, Kagorak's Lament, and the Luck of the Laughing God Warlord traits. 9 players with 2 Kisses and 2 Caresses in there just because I had some points. The Incarn, and a Void Weaver with a Prismatic Cannon. That's it, 2,000 points on the nose. Okay, here we have 2,000 points of Orks. I know, take it away. What have you brought with you today?
So it's an Orc battalion of Evil Sons. For HQ we have a Big Mac in Mega Armor. We have a Weird Boy. And we have a Death Killer Warstrike, this guy here.
Yep.
And with some custom jobs, but this guy has a Power Claw, basically. The Killer Claw, a relic, and a custom shooter. This guy has just the normal Death Killer Warstrike stuff. So 3 troops, 30 Slugger and Shooter boys, Slugger and Chopper boys, and 15 each, 2 squads of 15 of Shooter boys for objective grabbing and stuff. As well as a Rocket Trucks Quick Buggy, a Morkanaut, a Death Drab, some Tank Busters, 10 tank Busters, 10 Looters, 2 squads of War Bikes, and a truck as transport.
Very, very nice. Look at them, beautifully painted as well. I love the purple on them, and we've got some nice little conversions in here. So that is the Green Tide. Let's see how the Harlequins do when facing quite so many bodies. Let's begin with deployment. Okay, we are deployed. So for secondaries, the Orcs have chosen Assassinate, Domination, and First Strike. I've also chosen First Strike. I've chosen Engage on all fronts, and I've chosen, what was the last one? Mental Interrogation, that's the one. So, as may not come as much of a surprise, I've deployed quite far back, and the Orcs are all on the line. So let's see how we do. We will roll for first turn. Guys, I've got a dice. Let's see who goes first. Ooh, the suspense. Okay. I get a 2. You get a 1. So, I get to decide on who goes first, and I believe I'm going to choose first turn. So we will be back with Harlequins turn 1. So, turn 1 for the Harlequins. My bikes moved up, they advanced, and they managed to clear out some of the looters with a little help from the Void Weaver and the Star Weaver. My Death Jester did attack the war boss, putting 1 wound on him and reducing his movement by 2 inches. In other news, I killed a couple of bikers with my warlords using the Shrieker profile and the an example made. Here I managed to destroy the truck. Fire and faded my bikes back to be within 3 inches of that objective. Yes, we are using salt shakers, guys, if you're confused. Moved up here a little bit as well, and then moved the Incarn just over, and everything else has sort of stayed here. So that's the end of Harlequin Turn 1. Oh, in my psychic phase, I did double move them, so both of my bikes are on a 3+, and I've got 4 CP remaining. Quite expensive, but I think it's going to be worth it. So let's see what the Orks can do in their first turn. So in this first turn, I moved up quite aggressively, particularly with my bikes in order to try and kind of surround those objectives and make sure that I had enough bodies to survive into the following turn. I do feel like I made a couple of mistakes in terms of my positioning. My Shadow Seer ended up in a place where it probably would have done better being closer to the rest of the army that he was able to support. This is also something that I would like to edit in my list. I think I need another one. Now, it seems like a risky move. It was a bit of a risky move having my bikes up that far. However, I did feel that I would be able to survive a turn, particularly with the amount of damage output that I had, and given that the Orks didn't have, for example, 120 boys coming my way. So I focused on the rest of the turn, making sure that I could get myself into a decent position and trying to take out some of those key threats early on in the game and reduce his maneuverability. So end of Ork Turn 1, so a lot of movement here to go up and grab Dominate and the central objective to hopefully score an additional secondary point in Turn 1. They managed to kill my Void Weaver here that was holding this objective. Destroy a transport, I lost 1 on the way out, and kill my bikes. However, the Incarn did just about manage to slip in there in terms of teleportation. Yeah, not a bad turn for the Orks at all. We've got Domination, First Strike as well, so because both myself and the Orks managed to kill 3 units, we are both on 5 points. Dominate as well, and setting themselves up for a very, very nice primary points, hopefully, in the next turn. So going on to turn 2 for the Harlequins. Now, I know I didn't play quite as aggressively as I expected him to, partly I think because he's faced my Harlequins before and he kind of knows the damage potential that we have. I feel, however, that this might have been a bit of a mistake, that if he'd moved up everything that he possibly could to really get in my face, it would have made it a significantly more dangerous situation for me, just with the amount of bodies that he could put onto the objectives and also give me a huge amount to worry about in terms of their ability to deal just masses and masses of attacks. However, he didn't, which gave me a lot of free reign later on in the game. Right, end of Harlequin Turn 2, so looking quite bloody at the moment so far. So my troops here managed to slay quite a few of the Orks. However, they are still there on that central objective, and I still don't outnumber them, so they will be scoring there. I lost 2 bikes. They didn't really do amazingly in combat, but they took a couple of wounds off them over there. Also took a few wounds off the Death Dread, so he is down to 1 wound left. Over here I slaughtered the boys to make sure that I could get hold of that particular objective, and the Incarn took out a few of the tank busters, which was quite nice. My Shadow Seer stays here to do mental interrogation on the Big Mech, so that I could score myself another 3 points. And I have managed to get engaged on all fronts in this turn, although at the end of last turn I did a slight mistake and manoeuvred my jet bike so that they were just out of range of that one. Okay, so moving on to the next Ork turn. It's been pretty bloody so far. Let's have a look and see if they can hold on to those objectives. They will, of course, be scoring more points and will get more command points in the next turn. Let's have a look. So in this turn, I started to try and spring my trap, as it were. So although I'd move my bikes forward and in an aggressive and in some ways a vulnerable position, I started to use my characters and their damage potential along with some of the troops to move in and start clearing away, chipping away at those big horde units, making sure that I could get the most out of my secondaries as well. So positioning my things basically to give myself more control over those primary points for the next turn, which did actually prove to work out quite well for me. Okay, so on to Ork Turn 2, so the Green Tide strikes again, so we have this unit coming back to full strength. The Morkanaut, who was in Deep Strike, came in, through shooting managed to kill 1 transport and in combat the other. Over here, my Incarn teleported once again to the point where the Death Dread died, having charged and not quite having killed my bikes. However, the War Boss, being big and orky, managed to swap them. I did interrupt here, so, making sure that I could take out the bikers who did charge my troop. In other news, we've got still an objective here with the units here. They did manage to kill my Solitaire through a mixture of smiting and shooting. Otherwise, what we're looking at here, so no domination this time. However, there was an assassination point in there. And yeah, it's looking really sparse. This is just the end of turn 2, right? Yeah. Yeah, so turn 2 and everything is dead. Everybody died, except the Orks, who always come back, you know, because they are big mushroom fungus men. Right, let's see what I can pull out of the bag in turn 3 for the Harlequins. So Ainur did actually admit that this was a bit of a mistake using the Green Tide in this way, because although he brought his troop back, unfortunately, they ended up being pretty much out of the game for the rest of it. So here my characters, you know, which were pretty much all I had left other than one troop, were able to start really chipping away at the last remnants of what was defending those central objectives, giving me the ability to both take the secondaries and the primaries. Now, one of the biggest issues here really was the choice of the secondary domination, which is a very difficult one to do when I'm able to go out and challenge him on it every single turn. So he managed to get it for the first turn, but after that it started to fall apart a little bit from here. Okay, so the end of Harlequin Turn 3. We've decided to call it a day at the end of here. The Incarn and the Troop Master together managed to make short work of the Morkanaut. My Shadow Seer managed to take care of the Big Mech, and pretty much the only thing the Orks have left is this unit of boys that lost a huge amount in my shooting. The final score in the end we will look at in just one moment. Okay, so that is game, and we have finished. It was a victory to the Harlequins this time. The final score was 38-26. Not a bad game from the Orks, however, in the end. Just, I don't know, there were a couple of rolls, weren't there? How did you find the game?
I think we made some tactical mistakes because the Unstoppable Green Tide stratagem was misplaced, I would say. We used it incorrectly, placed our boys in the wrong position, so they were out of the game for the rest of the game. Overall, maybe we could have tried not putting the Morkanaut into Deep Strike, and maybe that would change the game a little bit. But overall, it was pretty sound game.
Yeah, I mean, it was very back and forth. I do not have a huge amount left on the table, to be fair, and the Orks did manage to take out a huge amount of stuff. It wasn't quite enough to be able to take out the whole unit. That was the biggest problem, because it left me with too many things to be able to then move around. But otherwise, really good game. It was very neck and neck. I wasn't sure how it was going to go in turn 2. I would agree with you in terms of the Green Tide, though, because when I saw you moving away from that central point, I was just like, okay, you do that, but then I'm just not going to engage with that big mob at all. So yeah, it was an interesting game. Lots of ups and downs, but a lot of fun on it. Okay, thank you, Ainur. So this has been Goes to the Webway. I've been Kit. This has been Ainur. Thanks for watching. See you next time.